want to thank you all for being here with us today. So I'm Rob, this is Gemma, and she's super thrilled to be here. Also, you know this is a podcast, so you need to talk as well, because I know it's going up on YouTube, but I'm hoping to put it up on Spotify, and people can't see your face on Spotify.
Whoa.
There we go.
I'm very tired.
So I thought we'd just start off by giving a quick idea to people who we are and what we'd maybe like to achieve. So that we're a couple of anime fans.
Yes.
That we've both worked for different channels in the past, haven't we? So you had a bit of gaming sort of channel, didn't you, on YouTube?
Very like Minecraft, yeah.
I had a channel where I did a bit of gaming, but it was just a bit of nothing. Then we both worked for another channel, which was completely gaming based.
Yes.
And then
And now we just do what we want.
yeah, now I've started my own. I started my own channel, and I kind of found things that I liked doing, things that worked, things that didn't work. But the key thing that I found is I was doing a bit of everything and not enough of something. So this new YouTube channel I'll be starting and this podcast be looking at doing it completely solely based on manga, anime and comics. Trying to release news updates every single day, or as often as the news comes through for anime and that. So you guys are always in the know with what's going on. We're doing a podcast once a week as well for you guys. And hopefully we're posting once a week as well as the podcast for videos like a top 5 sort of video, or like reactions or reviews I spoke about doing and thought of doing. I don't know whether we're going to be doing that yet or not though. Hopefully in the future with where this is going, I want to get this podcast on Spotify, iTunes, possibly even the Google Store. But I'm looking to do interviews with people like Netflix, Crunchyroll, or the top people, everyone and anyone in the anime industry. So that's kind of what I want us to be doing. Whether that's
Should we get on and do it then?
okay. So I figured I'd tell people a bit more about us. So what got us into anime?
You.
Because I mean, I first got into anime back when I was in college, which a guy.
Not true.
What do you mean not true?
Not true. Tell me you didn't watch Pokemon when you were a child.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Sure, there was Pokemon, Dragon Ball.
Sailor Moon, bitch.
There was different bits of anime that I watched as kids, but I suppose I watched it more as a cartoon, I suppose, as just like kids' TV.
Well, I don't think we really knew what anime was at that point. It was all just cartoons. It was all in the same category as like Courage the Cowardly Dog and Dexter's Laboratory and stuff. There wasn't a distinction. So
I suppose when you put it that way, yeah, I did watch anime as a kid, but
didn't know that's what you were doing.
Yeah. But then, as I was at college, I went round to a mate's house, and on his kitchen table was book number 2 of Death Note, and I was flicking through it just whilst I was bored. He goes, "Oh, take that with if you want to read it, but watch the first episode of Death Note, the first couple of episodes, so you know what's gone on in the book." So I started watching the first episode, and then I started reading the manga, so I suppose I started with anime first.
Technically, I started with anime first because of Sailor Moon when I was a kid, but before I actually consciously watched anime, I read the Vampire Knight mangas.
Alright, so you started out with manga before.
But literally just that one manga. I didn't read any more.
And it never after reading that, you never really wanted to pick it up as a thing, or?
No. At that stage, I was much more into, like, books.
Right.
So I had a go at it, because it was... Right, let's be honest, this is around, like, Twilight stage.
Yeah.
So vampires were becoming a really big thing, and then you see this book about Vampire Night where this, like, cutesy little schoolgirl's getting fought over by two really hot men. As a teenager, that's, like... It's job on. So it was around the same time as Twilight as well, so I kind of read it, but then you had Twilight, so I don't know, it just cut off.
Right.
It wasn't until you made me watch Death Note that I got into anime.
That's interesting. So, that kind of leads on to the next two real questions that I had, really, that really defines about what you watch and why you'd sort of watch it, because two questions that I had down for us is what would be your go-to anime and what would be the kind of one that you'd always go back to. So, for instance, you're laying in bed, you're nodding off, but you're not tired. You want to watch something. For me,
Dr. Pimple Popper. Crime Watch Daily. You can put them in your tags now. You're welcome.
Okay, you're looking to find an anime. For me, I'd say that my go-to anime would be, I'd say Dragon Ball. Because it's one of them things where I grew up on it as a kid. You've got that nostalgia feel when you pick it back up. And despite the fact I watched it when I was, probably about 12-ish, 10, 12. I'm now 10, 15 years later, you go back to watch it, and it's still good.
You've probably still never seen them all.
Oh no, I have.
Have you? Did you go right back from the beginning?
Oh yeah.
How many episodes are there now?
I'd hate to find out.
Is it as long as One Piece, or is it longer?
I think One Piece is the longest running thing ever. Because that's like 700 and odd episodes.
See, for me, you have to think an anime that you keep picking on. Are there any animes I've watched more than once? And the only ones that I have watched more than once are Death Note, Sailor Moon, and Pokemon. Because as I got older, you start to get that, like, oh, I wonder what this is like, I'll watch this again. And then Netflix, obviously, they stuck on all the Pokemon episodes. And if you go on YouTube, it's got
season.
Every Sailor Moon episode on YouTube. So, like, you give it a go. And unlike cartoons, anime is as good as you remember it is. Because I had a thing where Powerpuff Girls was on Netflix. And I was like, yes, loved Powerpuff Girls. Got to watch this. Watched one episode, couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but there's something that, as a kid, I used to watch. And I've been back to it since, and it was terrible.
Garbage. I watched one episode.
And one of the biggest things for this, Power Rangers.
That's garbage now.
Every single kid, as a bloke, watched Power Rangers. You were not a male and didn't watch Power Rangers.
Yeah, I watched Power Rangers, you sexist.
Well, that's the thing though. Every single person watched Power Rangers. You go back and watch it as an adult, and you see why you watched it, but the acting is terrible.
The effects
the special effects are horrible.
The stunts are horrible.
And it's like the costumes as well.
Yeah, it's tacky, isn't it?
There's so many people in what are essentially morph suits that it's just like, wow. But how did this take off?
As a kid, it's amazing because you don't see all that.
So, but whereas...
And it's same with cartoons like Powerpuff Girls. As a kid, all you could think was, wow, there's these girls and they have magic powers and they do all this stuff, that's amazing. Whereas now, if you actually watch it and try and get any kind of storyline and characterization out of it, you're going to be very disappointed. It would just cringy, it don't make any sense. Whereas, when you watch Pokemon or Sailor Moon again, for me, it was just pure nostalgia. There wasn't any grimacing or cringing. It was just like, oh my god. Like, obviously you think it is cheesy because it is.
Yeah.
But it's like you enjoy. It's a kind of cheese you enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I went back and watched Yu-Gi-Oh! As well.
Can't stand Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, it's one of them ones where I went back. It's not like Pokemon where it's still going to be as good. But I went back to it and I rewatched it, and it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be.
It was.
So,
if you take a drink every time they say friendship, you'd be smashed in 5 minutes.
But, like, you said that you went back to Powerpuff Girls and it was
diabolical.
It was horrible. But I didn't have that same thing when I went back to Yu-Gi-Oh! It wasn't as good as I remembered it being as a kid.
But it wasn't awful.
But, yeah, it wasn't god-awful that I just went, no, I'm done. The storyline does drift off and it gets a bit... meh. But, I mean, it's still very watchable.
It's like, for me, Sailor Moon, I enjoy it and it's very watchable. But now I'm older, I find Sailor Moon very irritating.
Yeah, I can see that.
But when I was younger, she was never my favourite either.
Yeah.
My favourite was always Jupiter, and then when Venus came along, she was my favourite. It was never Sailor Moon. She wasn't a very likeable main character. She was just quite whiny.
And we'll touch on this in a different podcast later on. But it's a big difference as well between what you used to watch and what I used to watch. Because obviously you got Sailor Moon, which is very girly, pretty, and it's got that kind of bright sort of feeling to the style as well, isn't it?
It's like magical princessy. It's every
yeah.
young girl's thing, but at the same time, they're powerful women, like strong women, doing all this amazing stuff. So it's not just your usual prissy girly girl thing. It has that element, but at the same time, they're badass as well.
Which I find it's interesting that obviously you'd watch something like Sailor Moon, I'd possibly watching something like Yu-Gi-Oh! But every single thing, whether you're a boy or a girl, you'd watch Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon was really universal
it was
because you had Ash, but you had Misty, and I think Misty was the thing that drew girls in, because Misty was always my favourite.
Because I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of many more anime that every boy and girl would watch.
Well, I guess, I don't know, because Dragon Ball, right, I didn't watch it when I was younger because I thought it was just really like a boyish thing and I found it boring. Now, I've really enjoyed this whole Tournament of Power saga.
Super.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super, and it's the first time I've ever really watched Dragon Ball. And I really enjoyed it and really appreciate it. But then when you show me episodes earlier, the biggest character change for me is Bulma.
Yeah.
Because earlier on, she's very pretty and girly girl and annoying, like Sailor Moon. But now, she's fierce and she's badass, and even Vegeta's scared of her. And that's what I like. I like a woman who isn't lesser than the men. That's why I love that they brought in those female Super Saiyans. They had stupid friggin' names, but the fact that she was going toe to toe with Goku, I loved that.
Yeah.
As a girl. That's why I like Tokyo Ghoul. There's some really strong women in that.
So I suppose that's what it really comes down to, where your experience, coming back to the original question as well, like the experience of who we are, what we choose, and kind of what we've become. We still stick to what we know. Obviously, you still stick to your powerful women, and I still stick to...
Well, I'm the same with video games.
Yeah.
Like, if I see a video game where the main character is female, it doesn't matter if I haven't seen anything else of that game, I'll try it, I'll buy it. Because it's rare. Like, Tomb Raider, played every single game. Because when I was younger, I don't know about you, but I can't think of many other games with a female lead that powerful, other than, like, your classic with, like, you know, Zelda and Mario, but still it's mainly about Link and Mario.
Yeah.
Whereas Tomb Raider was just, it's Lara. It's about her. I've always been like that. Like, any game that gets released, if it has a female lead, I don't care about the story or the graphics, I'll play it. Because it's just that relatability.
I think that's what's so good about anime as well. You can do anything with it.
Yeah, and there's something for everyone as well. You can pick up whatever you want. If you want something serious and dark, there's Death Note, there's Monster. If you want something... Because is Monster quite supernatural, or is it not?
I forgot, you've still not seen Monster. Guys, you've still not seen Monster?
I've seen bits.
I wouldn't say super... It's one of the... Right. Spoiler alert. Basically, it's about a doctor who has to choose between saving the life of a kid
and the mayor.
Yeah, and everyone's saying, right, this guy's going to bring us money, save him. And he chooses to save the life of this kid. And then it turns bad, and this kid tries to ruin his life and kill him and all sorts of...
Is the kid an actual monster, or is it called Monster because...
It's called Monster because of who he is and what he's about.
So it's not supernatural then?
But I don't think he can die.
Right, so there is like an element then.
Because it gets to the end where he's supposed to be dead, and then he's just vanished.
I wish that's how Death Note ended. Because I didn't want L or Light to die. It just needed to... I don't know how it could have ended. But...
Everything had to go the way they had to go. Because as someone who's writing manga series, and if you put publishing it in Shonen Jump, you're doing it chapter by chapter, so you got to get people coming back to Shonen week after week to read those chapters. So you can't just have L versus Light go on forever.
But then the other argument is, once L died, I don't think the series was as good at that point.
No, and they brought it back a bit when they had Nia.
See, Nia was nowhere.
Well, it was that arc in the middle where I forgot his name now.
Is it the other guy that's not Nia, but the tall one? What's his name? Because he does my editing, because he's arrogant and he's an arse, and then he just comes into it and out of it in 2 seconds, and there's no point in being there.
I'm not sure what you mean. But no, what I was saying is, when he gives up the Death Note and Rem gives it to the other guy whose name I can't think of, the arc where he had the Death Note from there, it was part of a corporation, or whatever that corporation was called, I completely forgot now. So many people on the YouTube video and the comics are going to be nuts at this one. But when he had the Death Note and that whole series of Light had lost his memories and all this, until he got his Death Note back, I thought that was a bit
bit flat, wasn't it?
But then once Nia came into it after that, and he got his memories back, and it was Light was back again.
Yeah.
He kind of pulled it back. But L had to die to further the story, because you can't kill Light until your story's over. Or you put somebody else in that power, but would it... I'd rather...
There wasn't anyone else.
I'd rather replace L with Nia than I would General Guy with Light. Because they wouldn't have that mentality to... kill the way that he did.
Well, there's no way to replace Light, whereas I guess L came from somewhere. He was trained to be the way he was, so there must be others. It made sense. There were people in line to replace him. Whereas Light was just a dude. Well, he was just a guy that picked up this book.
Well, think about how different it would have been for Obata to have wrote it if instead of killing L, Rem decided to kill Light, and the Death Note went to Mikami. Mikami. The guy that he sent the notebook to at the end. He was there when L died.
I think Light died. I can't remember, to be honest. It's been a long while.
he was doing all the killings for him when he was under investigation. Again.
Yeah, so when Light had lost his memories, he was the one carrying it on. It was to take suspicion off of Light, wasn't it?
No, after that, when he got his memories back, all this time later, Ney put him under suspicion, didn't he? So he sent...
No, a decoy.
Yeah, so he was using Mikami, the guy that went to the gym and all that, who was the guy that he saw in the news. If it had been him instead, and obviously Light was gone, it wouldn't have run as well.
No, because a lot of the storyline was kind of Light and Ryuk's relationship as well.
Yeah.
Which Ryuk is my favourite character, always has been.
I thought you liked Rem the most, to be fair.
No, the thing with Rem, what I liked was that, one, she was a Shinigami, but she was a she. Because there weren't any strong females in Death Note, because Misa was pathetic. So Rem was your only, like, formidable female in there. And what annoyed me was when they did the Death Note film, that Rem was left out of it.
Yeah.
Because Rem was actually a really big part of Death Note.
Yeah.
And the only redeeming part of that film was Ryuk. So if you'd have thrown another Shinigami in there, it might have, sorted it out a bit. Because Mia was crap. Couldn't stand her. Couldn't stand Light. And it was awful. And L was bad as well. The only redeeming thing was Ryuk, and he was barely in it. And then they cut Rem as well completely. It didn't work. I hated it. Didn't work. So your only strong female character they cut, and they tried to make Mia that role, but didn't work.
Yeah, we'll touch on it a different time.
I've got to go get weighed at Slimming World.
Yeah, we'll touch on a different time about the live action films and all that. But,
I got plenty to say about that one.
But that Death Note one was horrible. Anyway, I hope this gives you a good feel about who we are and what we like, what we seem to watch.
We could probably go on with this forever, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because we haven't even talked about, like, Corpse Party, Tokyo Ghoul. We haven't talked about Akame ga Kill or Blue Exorcist or any of... what's that? Elfen Lied is another one that we really enjoyed as well.
Yeah, there's so many that we've watched and...
Death Note was the tipping point, and now we've tried all these things and we've kind of got an idea now of what we like. So there's a lot in the bank to talk about.
Yes.
And Violet Evergarden, Rob didn't watch that, but that's one of the most beautiful animes I've ever seen. Very different to anything else we've watched as well. It was real life. There wasn't supernatural or...
Yeah, so there you go then. For this week, this has been all about us. We've got a lot more stuff to do. I think next podcast will be about the past and the future of anime. So we'll be continuing from pretty much where we finished it today.
Hated Dragon Ball, now I like Dragon Ball. Used to watch Sailor Moon, still would. Used to watch Pokemon, still do. I've done it. That's it. Podcast done.
Okay. So I will see you guys next week. So bye for now, guys. Bye.